Today's show goes into great detail about the most exciting event in the XRP story so far, a shocking discovery that could change the future of global banking in a big way. CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, who is known as the most powerful person in asset management, has started a new talk about tokenization. This time, the consequences are very clear. They point to XRP. People used to think of XRP as a risky bet, but now it could be seen as the key asset for the tokenized economy. A change in the financial world that is worth more than 1.2 quadrillion in bonds, swaps, and real-world assets around the world. Fink has been leaving clues at all the big events for years, from the New York Times Dealbook Summit to BlackRock's investor calls. He's been making one thing very clear: tokenization is the future of finance. The world's financial system will change a lot when stocks, bonds, real estate, and currencies can all be shown on a digital record. But for tokenization to really work, there needs to be a neutral settlement layer that everyone agrees on. This is a digital asset that can handle fast, cross-border liquidity with clear rules and trust from institutions. XRP is the answer to that question. Ripple Labs didn't make XRP as a retail coin. They made it so that financial institutions can send and receive money in real time. The tokenization of everything, which is what Fink has been talking about, is what this blockchain project is all about. As BlackRock digitizes the world's biggest asset groups like ETFs, bonds, and private equity, it's important that they have the right infrastructure in place for instant settlement. A trillion-dollar market can't be tokenized without a bridge currency that can be used to settle tokenized assets in real time. XRP is at the heart of this change because of its architecture, liquidity model, and track record of use with global banks. Larry Fink's words aren't just random sound bites. They perfectly match the strategic moves that BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, and other big banks are making to increase their blockchain exposure. BlackRock has already applied for a tokenized asset fund pilot, and its blockchain business is said to be in talks with a number of distributed ledger providers, including partners with ties to Ripple. The timing couldn't be better. Ripple is becoming more legal in the US at the same time. The most powerful asset manager in the world backs up the idea that XRP was created to carry out. Let's look at the math that is making waves in the XRP community. The International Swaps and Derivatives Association, ISEA, says that the world derivatives market is worth more than $1.2 quadrillion. So it's not a mistake. If even a small part of that, say 0.1%, is tokenized and paid through a system that uses XRP as liquidity, the demand could push the price way above what anyone thought it would be. Analysts have made models that show XRP could reach values of $10,000 to $60,000 per token if global liquidity levels drop below 1%. With Larry Fink now publicly supporting the institutional wave, that number no longer seems impossible. It's mathematically possible. You need to know how RippleNet and on-demand liquidity, ODL, work to understand how XRP fits into this scheme. Ripple's system lets banks change fiat into XRP, send it quickly across borders, and then change it back into local currency in seconds. This way, banks don't have to rely on nostro vostro accounts full of idle capital. This gets rid of trillions of dollars in trapped cash, which is a problem that banks have been trying to solve for decades. Think about using that same system now, not only for money transfers, but also for the settlement of trades in tokenized stocks, real estate contracts, and swaps. These are the very markets that BlackRock wants to digitize. Fink stresses openness, efficiency, and ease of entry when he talks about tokenization. All three are provided by XRP. Bitcoin is still risky and slow, but XRP's system can handle 1,500 transactions per second for almost no cost. Even better, it doesn't produce any carbon, which is a big deal for ESG-driven companies like BlackRock. In his own words, Fink has said that tokenizing securities will be the next big thing in markets and securities. It's not a guess when the biggest asset manager in the world says that. It's a plan. Ripple has been working behind the scenes to connect itself with the organizations that will make this change possible. Over 300 banking institutions around the world work with the company, ranging from Santander and SBI Holdings to central banks that are looking into CBDCs. Ripple is now the interoperability layer for Fink's tokenized world thanks to new patents, files, and partnerships with ISO 2022 compliant systems. Also, don't forget that the same XRP token is used by both the public ledger and the secret ledger that Ripple made for central banks. It is clear that XRP will be the universal settlement asset if these systems come together, which there is proof they will. The timetable for this change is getting shorter. Ripple announced a set of pilot projects in 2024 that would use carbon credits and tokenized real estate. These weren't just any tests. They were proof of concept tests for the systems that BlackRock and other banks will use. Traditional finance and decentralized finance are now coming together, and the race to control settlement lines is on. With its large funding pools, clear regulations, and widespread use by institutions, XRP is quickly becoming the clear winner. People who don't like XRP often wonder why its price hasn't gone through the roof yet. The answer is in the rollout to institutions. Tokenization isn't just happening in stores, it's happening all over the system. Ripple and its partners are building the financial plumbing, with infrastructure coming first and value coming later, something that needs years to finish. As soon as BlackRock's tokenized assets and Ripple's ODL system connect, everything starts to flow. There will be no more debate about how much people want XRP. Depending on what needs to be done, there will need to be XRP liquidity for every deal, settlement, tokenized bond, or ETF that goes through this environment. Things get even more interesting now. A lot of insider reports and digital asset experts have said that Larry Fink's recent comments about instant settlement and digitally native securities are very similar to what Ripple has said in their white papers. It's not an accident. This is orientation. There are ongoing partnerships between BlackRock and companies like JP Morgan and Citi, both of which have worked with Ripple-connected networks. This suggests that the infrastructure is already being tried in a quiet way. The confirmation in our title isn't just a guess, it's a given that BlackRock's future tokenized ETF payment process will use a ledger that works with or uses XRP. This also has to do with geopolitics. The global system is breaking up as BRIC countries try to move away from using dollars and Western institutions shift. The next reserve network won't have just one currency like the dollar at its center. It'll be a digital infrastructure that is tokenized, can work with other systems, and doesn't care about payment. Because XRP is neutral and Ripple is present all over the world, it is known as the Switzerland of digital cash. Bitcoin might still be used as a way to store value, but XRP could become the global transaction layer. It would be like oil for the tokenized machine. BlackRock, which is run by Larry Fink, has more than $10 trillion in assets. XRP's market cap could grow by a huge amount if even a small amount of that money is moved through tokenized lines. Imagine that 0.01% of BlackRock's managed assets are moving through a settlement layer built on XRP. It's possible for XRP's value to reach 5 figures just because of that, and that's before you add in swaps, real estate, or global trade finance. One thing Ripple has already shown is that its network can grow. Institutional adoption is the only thing left to do, and based on Fink's open support, it looks like it will happen soon. At this point, XRP price predictions of $60,000 may sound crazy, but when you look at the math behind liquidity, they start to look, well, possible. If XRP could handle even a small amount of that turnover, the value of all tokenized assets could be more than $1 quadrillion. The price would have to change to fit the size of the deal, not because of speculation, but because of the need for utility. To keep things stable, the value of the token must go up as the liquidity demand goes up. That's how the deflationary quantity of XRP meets the demand around the world. The world of digital assets is about to go through a change that will only happen once every 100 years. When Ripple beat the SEC, it was the first time that the law made sense for a business that is now worth $1 trillion. In the meantime, big banks like BlackRock, Fidelity, and others are not only watching, they're also growing. Fink's tokenization bombshell is no longer just an idea, it's now policy. The bridge asset has already been picked and the tools are being built right now. No longer are small investors in XRP looking for a breakout to be the story. It's about how the future financial system will be built. BlackRock, Ripple, and a group of other global companies are working together in secret to make this happen. Larry Fink's confirmation that tokenization is the next step for markets is the last piece that fits together Ripple's 10-year goal with Wall Street's trillion-dollar machinery. The liquidity change has begun as the pipes are built and the dots are linked. As the tokenized age goes on, there is one truth that can't be ignored. A bridge asset will power every settlement and make sure that every trade is instant. More and more institutions agree that this bridge is XRP. A value of $60,000 isn't just a matter of hype, it's based on math, momentum, and what will happen. For now, the only question is whether you are ready for the future of tokens that Larry Fink just confirmed. He is the world's biggest asset manager and has shown the way. Nota bene, please keep in mind that I'm not a qualified financial manager. The information in